Dear participants, it's a pleasure to welcome you to the Augstsprieguma tīkls, also called AST Investor Webinar. We will begin with the company's presentation, after which we will be addressing your questions. You're kindly invited to submit them in writing through the Q&A window below the presentation. For your convenience, the webinar is being recorded and replay will be available shortly after the session. Now let me introduce today's hosts. Rolands Tīkls, Chairman of the Management Board, and Gatis Junhans, Member of the Management Board of AST. Please, the floor is yours.
Hello Nasdaq, hello participants of this webinar. So today we will inform you about the financial results of the previous year, 2025. And starting this presentation, I want to say that last year was very, very important for the AST as a company, but not only, it was also very important for the national energy independence and the whole Baltic energy independence. Then briefly about everything in our presentation. So first of all, introduction. This was already done by Nasdaq, so thank you. It's me, Rolands Tīkls, the Chairman of Management Board, and Gatis Junhans, and the Member of Management Board. Short information about the group. Augstsprieguma tīkls is a fully state-owned company, owned by a Ministry of Climate and Energy. We also have shares in minority shares in Baltic RCC and Pirmais Latvijas pensiju fonds. Connexus Baltic Grid, we are the majority shareholder with 68.46% of the shares. And the biggest minority shareholder is Infrastructure Investment Europe Limited Fund. And there is also minority investors, small investors, that they hold 2.48% of the shares. Both companies are regulated public service providers, so our general main source of income comes from the regulated services. And for AST, we also have a minus stable long-term credit rating from Standard & Poor's Global. So core information about AST infrastructure and assets. So we have 110 and 330 kilovolt power lines. That's for transmission network, in total 5,500 kilometers long. Last year we transmitted electricity more than 6,000 gigawatt hours. We own 147 substations, and this number currently is growing because we are connecting new renewable energy producers, wind and solar, and battery storages. And what is new this year as well, so last year we completed two big investment projects, two battery storage projects, one in Tume and one in Rezekne, and three synchronous condensers projects in Grobini, Ventspils, and Līksne. Then about Connexus Baltic Grid. So Connexus Baltic Grid is also a very important company in the regional sense. So we have the one big gas storage here in Baltics, which serves Baltic states, Finland, and partly Poland. And what is new here is that last year Connexus Baltic Grid also completed Jūkste biomethane injection point, and there is several similar projects ongoing and planned in the future as well. Transmitted gas last year was 25.5 terawatt hours, and the total storage capacity is 2.3 billion cubic meters, which is very quite enough, not only for Latvian needs, but also for whole region. So coming to the accomplishments and milestones and main events from the last year. So last year was the final year of our previous strategy, which was from 2021 to 2025. And there were four directions in our strategy. So there was safe electricity, grid operations, green transformation, digital transformation, and employee engagement and development. I can say that in the whole, the strategy, all targets were achieved and very successful, and some of those were achieved even ahead of the time. When we started our strategy, then, for example, the synchronization was planned either at the end of 2025 or beginning of 2026, so it happened a year earlier in February of 2025. So therefore, the biggest event from the last year in Latvia, in Baltics, and actually one of the biggest events in energy for us was in history was the synchronization with continental Europe. So here you can see also a short video from New York when this event was also noticed by NASDAQ, and we get our little advertisement about the event in the Times Square. So this was very important because it was very important for our energy security. So since February 2025, we are not connected anymore to the Belarusian grids. So we are not dependent from their balancing services and their system stability. And so this gives us much more security. At the same time, we are now connected with the worldwide biggest energy system, continental Europe. And this is very important for security point of view. To be prepared for this event, we also had a huge investments in our network, building new transmission lines between Baltic states, reconstructing the existing power lines, and also investing in infrastructure like synchronous condensers and the batteries. So quite important project where we strengthened our energy security, security of supply, and also strengthened our infrastructure. Then regarding the sustainability milestones, we consider the development of synchronous condensers and high capacity energy storage systems also is part of sustainability. This helps us to provide more reliable service, but it's also a green way how to provide these services. So, for example, for synchronous condensers, we don't have to procure this service from market participants, which in that case would need to run, for example, gas-fired power plants. So this is also quite important from sustainability point of view. Regarding battery storage systems, so we built this battery storage systems, but we also developed a new management system together with Riga Technical University, how to run this system in most efficient way and get the best economic benefits from using the batteries for the balancing capacities and balancing energy. Regarding sustainability investments, last year we finalized two important projects. One was Kuldiga substation, which is a new digital substation with new digital solutions, and also a green substation in Sarnikava without SF6 gases. And so all future substation projects we plan to build and reconstruct in a green way, so without SF6 emission gas. So there is also innovative transmission capacity solutions piloted in Latvia, like dynamic line rating, which can help better integrate also renewable energy. This means that there will be no static rating of available transmission capacity on the network, but we will get real-time data from the network, and this can help us increase available capacity and not to limit the renewable generation when it's not necessary. Regarding the sustainability, our task is to connect new renewable energy power plants, and they are coming a lot currently to our network. In 2025, we have concluded 30 agreements for establishment of new connections for renewable energy producers. And so in total, we have currently contracts for connection of new power plants in amount of 2.9 gigawatt. 0.8 gigawatt is solar power plants, 0.6 gigawatt is wind power plants, and 1.6 gigawatt is hybrid. So it's a combination of wind and solar, or wind and batteries, or solar and batteries. Or in some cases, we see that there is even projects where all three technologies are combined. So wind, solar, and the batteries is planned in the same location, in the same connection point. The first projects which were started some years ago were already completed last year. The first ones were solar power plants. Reason is that to build solar power plant, it's a little bit faster and easier than to build the wind park. So last year we finalized 6 new connection projects with total capacity 5.8 megawatt capacity. And we can see the results already today. We reaching new records of solar power production in Latvian energy system. And during the daytime, we can see that the solar power is covering the full consumption of Latvia, and we are in the daytime we already are exporting energy to other countries. Then quite important milestones was achieved in electricity and balancing markets. The very important related to synchronization was launching of the balancing capacity market. This is a common Baltic market. AST was the leading operator to create this market platform. And so this was very important to be done in time just before the synchronization. This is a very important project. It helps us to share with the balancing resources across the Baltic states. And this reduces the costs of the balancing because if the shared resources doesn't require so much, and therefore we can save money for our market participants and create better competition conditions for balancing capacity service providers. We also last year joined European Picasso balancing energy platform. So there is 2 markets. One is the capacity market, which is on Baltic scale. But the energy market which runs after that when you activate the capacities, and then in this Picasso platform is already a European-wide energy platform. We also switched from 60-minute trading to 15-minute trading. So before there was 24 prices per day. Then now it's 96 prices per day. And this is also important for integration of renewable energy sources. The production of renewable energy changes more frequently over the time, and therefore more digitalization in the market is very, very good and for renewable energy producers and their integration as well. And last year, Epex Spots entered the Baltics market at the beginning in intraday market, but it is expected that this year the Epex Spot will start trading also on the day-ahead market. So besides the Nord Pool spot, which we know already for many years, there will be another exchange where market participants can operate and use it to sell or buy wholesale energy products. Then quite important milestone from last year was also in operations and tariff segment. So last year our electricity distribution license were renewed for the next 20 years. Also a Public Utilities Commission, Latvian energy regulator, updated tariff methodology to improve efficiency and cost recovery. And also last year a new weighted average cost of capital was set from the regulator by 5.82%, which is significantly higher than it was before. What was important that despite of the big investments, additional costs related to our operations after the synchronization also increased WACC, the tariff we were managed to approve in a stable way. So for next 3 years, the tariff for electricity users is not increased, and even for biggest energy users, which are directly connected to our transmission network, the tariff was reduced if they are using their connection points efficiently and use a lot of power. Regarding the Connexus Baltic Grid, the main accomplishments and milestones was EU grant agreement for the North Baltic Hydrogen Corridor study. So this study is still ongoing, and we can expect the results in the next year. Then Inčukalns underground gas storage modernization was nearing the completion, and at this moment it's already completed, and there will be one representation event in May regarding this modernization. The new gas pumping unit was installed to improve efficiency and safety. And I mentioned before already the first public biomethane injection point were commissioned in Juste. So biomethane producers can bring their gas at this injection point and inject in the system. And then regarding financial and operational highlights, first about transmitted electricity volumes from last year's. Here we can see a quite stable picture. And what is interesting that after some little bit slightly declining years from 2021 to 2024, last year there was increase of transmitted electricity volumes. And especially we can saw that there is higher increase starting from the middle of the last year, and we see that this is a new trend which is most probably will continue this year and next years as well. We see that there is ongoing electrification projects. There is more demand from heating, both on individual level and on district heating level. New installations when electricity is used to produce heat. Also, the electromobility is adding volumes, and new data centers is built as well, and also is adding consumption volumes and transmitted electricity volumes in our network. At the same time, we are very good also on technological losses, so our technological losses stay stable and low. Then about electricity generated in Latvia by their type, here also the picture seems quite stable. So the numbers from 2024 to 2025 didn't change, but we can expect that in the coming years the share of renewables can grow. Still, the biggest share of renewables in the last years was from the Daugava basin from hydropower plants. So, therefore, also the biggest differences was related to hydrological situation in Daugava River. But in the coming years, we will see more and more effect from added renewable generation from solar and wind as well. Then regarding the gas segment, so transported gas, we can see also there is stabilization in volumes. If there were quite steep decline from 2021 to 2024, and then in the last year the changes were not so big anymore, and so transmitted gas is stable. The same for the gas consumption in Latvia. So transported gas volumes is higher because this is for the whole region. There is also transits through Latvia and transits to gas storage. But gas consumption in Latvia, as we can see, also is stable and already since 2022. So there were decline after 2021, but from 2022 there is stabilization and gas consumption stays stable at this moment. And regarding underground gas storage, there is a decline from the previous year, but the numbers are still similar to 2021 and 2022. Here, the biggest driver for underground gas storage is the market situation. So what is the price spread between summer price and winter price? And that's the main drivers for the underground gas storage fulfillment. But otherwise, the gas storage still is quite demanded, and also the auction results is good and provides good profitability for the company and the group. Regarding the revenues, here we can see that there is quite high an increase of revenues if we compare this to previous years, so both for the group and for AST. So significant increase for AST was driven by high usage of congestion revenue to cover operating expenses. So last year, after the synchronization, our operating expenses increased significantly until the end of June. We had to cover by our own resources all new balancing costs from the balancing capacity market. And so to cover these costs, we used congestion revenue, which we're allowed to use by the regulator in this regulatory period. So since this helped us to provide stable financial situation for the whole year. So the group's revenue growth was driven by higher revenues in the electricity transmission segment, while total revenues in the gas segment and storage segment declined by 14%. Regarding the EBITDA, so for the group, it's a little bit declined because of the gas segment. But for the electricity segment, for the AST segment, EBITDA was a record high if you look from the last 5 years. And regarding the profit also was very good for the group. It was the best from the last 5 years, 29 million euros, and also very good for AST as a company, 19 million euros. Biggest share of this profit comes from dividends from Connexus Baltic Grid. Regarding the assets, 87% of group assets are long-term infrastructure, reflecting stable and capital-intensive regulated business. And IST and group asset growth is driven by synchronization projects with continental Europe. So last year we commissioned synchronous condensers, we commissioned the battery projects, and therefore it's also, we can see this finalized investments also in our asset base. And for AST and group's capital structure, so it also remains stable. So AST equity has 2% or 9 million increase, while the equity ratio of AST and group has gradually declined due to EU co-financing of CapEx projects. So the EU co-finance part goes to liabilities side, and so our own share, which we invest from our own capital, goes to equity. And therefore, the capital structure for the group is 59% liabilities, 41% equity. And for the AST as a company, it's 63% liabilities and 37% equity. Last year's the biggest capital investments per segment. Here we can see the record numbers for electricity transmission increase from 2024. So for electricity transmission, it was these synchronous condensers, the batteries. Also, we continue to reconstruct existing infrastructure, substations, and transmission lines. Also, we connected new customers to our grid in the form of renewable energy producers. And also, we continued our AST headquarters and system operation system upgrades in Riga, in Darsim Street. So for the gas transmission, the investments were not so high as electricity, as we can see. but still quite important. There were infrastructure maintenance, anti-corrosion treatment, isolation material renewals, and regional methane gas transmission access point construction in Juxte, and also SCADA transmission control system upgrades for transmission. And for the gas storage, there were last year 14.6 million euro investments. The most important were underground gas storage modernization project, gas well maintenance, new equipment for gas compression, and also SCADA storage control system upgrades. The financial ratios and borrowings. Borrowings last year was for AST 120 million euros. The biggest part of that is green bonds, 100 million euros. So their expiration term is January next year. For the group, it's 187 million euros. In cash and short-term deposits, AST has 62 million euros, and the group has 67 million euros. And net to equity ratio is very good, below the defined threshold. So for AST, just 20%, and for the group, it's 18%. So equity ratio I already mentioned, so 37% for AST and 41% for the group. EBITDA margin 70% for AST and 26% for the group, because of good EBITDA ratios of Connexus as well. Total liquidity is 1.2 for AST and 1.1 for the group. And fixed rate borrowings from AST, total borrowings, it's 83%, and for the group, it's 67%. So all financial conditions included in the commitment agreements are fulfilled, and available credit line is also ensured to provide liquidity during this year. Very, very confident and stable financial ratios for this year, which is quite important. So this year we also plan to emit new green bonds. The emission is planned for autumn, and more information will follow on this matter in the coming communication from AST. So then now we are coming to non-financial report and our sustainability process. So for our sustainability process last year, we defined the group's value chain. So this is quite detailed graphic, but this is because we have a lot of sustainability matters which we analyze during our sustainability process definition. There is action drivers, providers of resources, our own activities, and then downstream direct customers and counterparties, end users, end of life cycle of our infrastructure and resources which are necessary for our activities. Regarding the double materiality, so material impacts, risk and opportunities of the group. So according to our analysis, these are the most material impacts and topics where we put more focus. From impact point of view, the most critical materiality is mitigating climate change, the energy sector, and occupational health and safety. And with less important but still significant both on impact materiality and financial materiality, it's biodiversity and ecosystems, incoming resources, safe employment, working hours, community impact related to land use and corporate culture. And from the last strategic period, the main events also from sustainability matters, it's in green transformation, environmentally friendly green substation project, system readiness for green electricity energy, so new connections from renewable energy sources, efficient dispatch center construction, new infrastructure in our Darsim Street, implementation of measures to reduce carbon footprint and in social responsibility towards employees and society. So we work on employee satisfaction and engagement. So we monitor this KPI every year, and from the last year, the index of employee satisfaction increased from 61 to 71 in this year. And also we take care of occupational safety, excluding serious accidents due to employer's fault. So in last years, we had 0 incidents of this matter. And in general, regarding the sustainability goals, so we are focusing on 3 directions. One is renewable energy, so ensure access to affordable, reliable, sustainable, and modern energy for all. But also, what is important, innovation and infrastructure. We, as an infrastructure company, focus on this and also protecting the planet. So take urgent action to fight climate change and its impact. So that was part of the presentation from my side. I will come back to the final slide as well about our future strategy, but now I will give a word to my colleague Gatis Junghans, which will tell more about our coming development plans.
Thank you, Ronald. When we prepared our grid for decoupling from Russian power system, we ended our dependence from Russia, but we also greatly accelerated transition to green energy. Therefore, last year we added a record amount of new renewable generation in our system and also concluded a record amount of new generation connection agreements that will be built in coming years. And this trend in renewable generation development is also the main driver of our investment map in the coming decade. And here you can see the trend. During the last 5 years, we saw 80% increase in generation capacity in Latvian power system. And the greatest addition was from solar. Today, solar generation represents 40% of total generation capacity in Latvia. And we have active connection agreements of about 3 gigawatts, including generation and storage. And we expect that next 5 years will be similarly busy, and generation capacity will increase by another 80%. And our network investment plan is aimed at increasing grid capacity to enable the new producers to input energy in our system and also to access European market. Here you can see our investment amounts in the coming decade, total 0.9 billion euros. 45% of all investments are targeted to maintain and reconstruct our current grid, increase capacity of our current grid. Another 45% of investments is aimed at new interconnections with Lithuania and Estonia. Then we have also increased investment stream in increasing protection and resilience of our grid. And approximately 3% of investments will be tunneled for connecting the new producers, and those are developer finance investments. And we plan to cover our investments through a mix of EU project funds, borrowings, and also our company's cash flow. Now I will touch upon our interconnection investment projects, which are 4. First, it's fifth interconnection between Latvia and Lithuania. This is a new overhead line starting from Ventspils, ending in Lithuania, Varduva. This interconnection will increase a connection capacity for new generation, as well as it is critical for adding new interconnections with continental Europe and Nordic market later. This interconnection is expected to be commissioned by 2031, and total investment is 65 million euros. Next interconnection investment project, which is included in our 10-year network development plan, is fourth interconnection between Estonia and Latvia. This is 1,000 megawatt interconnection between Saaremaa Island and Ventspils, partially onshore, partially submarine cable. Currently, we are undergoing the environmental impact assessment, which is going to be finished next year, and the project itself is going to be commissioned in 2033, and the total investment amount 305 million from AST side. Another project that we are intensely working on, but which is not yet included in our 10-year network development plan, is Baltic-German power link. This is quite big, 2,000 megawatt submarine cable project between Germany and Lithuania and Latvia. This is going to be hybrid connection, which will serve both for interconnection and energy exchange, as well as connecting offshore wind farms. We have submitted this project for inclusion in ENTSO-E, 10-year network development plan, and this is a prerequisite to apply for EU funding later. We are currently undergoing feasibility studies and financing model studies, and next significant steps about this project will be made by end of this year. Another project that we are working on is a 700 megawatt submarine cable between Sweden and Latvia. Recently, we have signed a memorandum of understanding with a Swedish transmission grid operator about carrying out a common feasibility study, which we plan to finish next year, spring, and then the next steps, decisions about next steps will be made after this study. Besides physical infrastructure, we are also working on market design, and the goal is to adapt the market design to the physical reality in the energy system. Roland's mentioned already several important points that we have implemented in our market design. In the coming years, we will focus in improving competition between power exchanges. The EPEX is expected to enter the day-ahead market this September. We will also improve balancing capacity market by adding a secondary auctions on a daily basis. Our aim is to also attract a bigger number and smaller size consumers from distribution grid level. So our next year efforts will be on independent aggregation and also demand response development. And we also plan to add the new products, new markets in ancillary services area by adding such products like voltage control and inertia.
Thank you, Gatis. And finalizing our presentation, also let's look forward for our current strategy, which we developed last year and approved recently, already this year. So we have the group strategy for 2026 to 2030. There is 3 main directions, which are energy security and independence, sustainable development of the energy sector, and integration to European energy system and regional competitiveness. And for energy security and independence, so there is a classic things of system operators like security of supply and what we should do to improve that matter, because the need for secure and reliable energy increases, and since our economy are more reliable for regarding the security of supply, then also we want to invest in this matter. Also, this covers activities regarding the cybersecurity and also physical security. Regarding the sustainable development of energy sector, there is a connection of new renewable energy producers and those new infrastructure projects which Gatis mentioned in his part of the presentation. Also, here is new developments in the gas sector, new biomethane injection points, and other directions of connections Baltic Grid business lines, for example, possibility of CO2 storage, and also future investigation of hydrogen infrastructure. And with integration to European energy system and regional competitiveness, so here is also activities how we can be more interconnected with other countries and how we can improve our energy market functionality for the coming years. And to achieve all these targets which are in our strategy and which are beneficial to Latvian and regional economies and competitiveness, we have also our horizontal objectives, so to be strong enough and powerful enough to achieve all those targets. So there is internal targets for financial sustainability and efficiency, employee growth and engagement. There is targets for technological development and innovation, and responsible and sustainable operating principles. So this is very brief how our strategy looks. If you need more information, you can find already more information about our strategy also in our homepage. So that's briefly about the last year's result and short insight in the coming years in our development plans. Thank you very much, and it's time for questions and answers.
Thank you so much. Indeed, we are now opening the floor for questions. Participants, please submit them in writing through the Q&A window. And I see that we have already received 3 questions, so we'll start right away with the first one. What would you say are the 3 biggest challenges your company faces right now?
I would say the one big challenge is this security matters. So we already quite well know what to do from system security point of view. We know what to do with cybersecurity. Now we plan to invest also in physical security, and it's quite important to understand what is the main tools or best tools to provide this security. So we are investigating in like drone detection systems, and there is quite dynamic industry behind that. So we want to find the right tools which serves us for quite long time, because the development in this matter there is very fast development in that matter. Also, I think the cybersecurity is additional matter which we make more attention. We feel quite sure about our own actions, but we want to make more attention also to what is connected to our network. What we see recently in European countries, and there were a big incident in Poland last year December, when the affected IT technologies were on generation side, which is connected to transmission network. And it's quite important to take care also not only about our own IT infrastructure, but also those who are connected to our network. So there will be additional attention from our side and possible requirements for those who are connected. And then, of course, the construction of renewable connection points. There is a big workload currently for us. We manage that one, and this year we also will work on our customer portal, because in the old ways how we managed our customers, this is not the most effective way how to organize that. And they were small numbers. That was one case, but we currently have more exposure to the markets. There is more participants coming and connected to our network, new markets, and therefore we need to improve the way how we work with our counterparties and our customers.
Thank you. Do you feel that policymakers understand the opportunities and challenges that your industry faces?
I'm sure that yes. The good thing is that AST shareholder is the Ministry of Climate and Energy. So last year we worked together on this expectation letter from the ministry as a shareholder. We worked together with the strategy. We were also involved in the energy strategy development for the country, that Energy Strategy 2050. So we have very good cooperation with policymakers in this sense, and we are very close to the policymakers. Therefore, we can address them directly and discuss what the developments is needed.
Thank you. Do you have sufficient access to capital today?
I can say yes. Because we have very good financial ratios, we still have quite big opportunities to attract borrowed capital, the debt if necessary. We have good access to European funds, and also we have possibility to fund our investments from congestion income. So there is quite diverse opportunities from our side where we can attract the capital. As I said, this year we plan to emit new obligations at the end of this year in autumn. So we expect that there will be quite high interest and activity from investors, and we hope to attract the capital also from obligation emission.
Thank you. All questions have been addressed. That concludes our Q&A session. Participants, thank you for joining us today. We appreciate your attendance. See you next time. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.